Nigeria charged 30 minors with treason and inciting a military coup following protests that erupted in response to escalating economic hardships faced by the population actually. Now, the charges, which have drawn significant criticism from human rights advocates and legal experts, highlight the government's stringent stance on dissent amid growing social unrest. In the light of public outcry and calls for justice, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has ordered the release of the minors, emphasizing the need for a more measured approach to addressing grievances and fostering dialogue. This decision reflects a recognition of the complexities surrounding youth involvement in protest and the broader implications of punitive measures on Nigeria's social fabric. The show is Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and, as always, embrace dialogue. I'm Odiawa AI, your host. Join us in the next phase of the show as we engage State Head of the Civil Society Coalition on Sustainable Development, Lagos State Chapter, Mr. Toyin Rahim. You do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us across various social media platforms. Welcome back to the show. The show is Viewpoints, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. With me on the show, I've got Mr. Rahim Toyin, and he is actually the head of the Civil Society for Sustainable Development, Lagos State Chapter. Mr. Rahim Toyin, you're welcome to the show.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very fine, sir. Well, it's been news making the rounds regarding the hungry minors who have actually been subjected to legal torture and also correctional torture in the process as a result of the End Bad Governance protest. Now, Nigeria actually charged 76 people, including 30 minors, with treason and inciting a military coup after they took part in deadly August protests against economic hardships. Court documents actually show that these issues on grounds were actually indicting the children. Now, might I ask, what implications do the charges of treason against protesters, particularly these minors in question, have for the future of civil rights and freedom of expression in Nigeria, especially in the context of the current economic and security crisis, judging from your own field coming from the civil society? Can we hear you, please, sir?
Well, thank you so much. First of all, let me portray an impression. There's never been anything deadly about any form of protest.
Okay.
Now, and what has happened is more or less the ridicule that the government of Nigeria is bringing upon all of us as a people. Now, for a government to have charged people, let's not forget about minor. Let's put the issue of being minor aside now. For the government to have charged people on peaceful protest for treason felony itself, it's a matter that calls for a special discussion of its own. And that was let us forget about the issue of minor or no minor. I'm happy that you did mention it, that presently the economic situation in Nigeria is more than harsh. Even using the word harsh is an understatement. And for people to be protesting against that, and the next thing is for government to get them arrested, charge them to court, more so, including minors. It is laughable. The government is only exposing us to the outside world as a country that we have leaders that are not serious, that they don't know what to do. That is exactly what they have exposed to the world. They have only exposed themselves. First of all, let's say this. The Eastern books of Nigeria make it very, very clear that minors can never be arraigned for criminal offenses. And that is why it's very, very laughable. It is funny when you see somebody that calls himself a son working for the police to have signed a charge sheet against minors, charging them for treasonable felony. What is treasonable felony? And that is the question to answer. When we talk about treasonable felony, we are talking about the people coming together to overthrow a government violently. Can the government prove that these people came together to overthrow the government? Can it be proven? It cannot. But unfortunately, we are a government that does not respect the rights of all of us as a people. And it's beyond the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Section 37 of the Criminal Code that talk about treasonable felony. In fact, the punishment is death.
Yes.
Does it mean anybody protest? Does it mean anybody protest against the government based on this harsh economy or based on bad governance? Does it mean that person is liable or to be charged for treasonable offense? No. Protest itself is a legitimate right of entire Nigerians. In fact, the president himself, the incumbent president of Nigeria, was part of some protest.
Okay.
So I'm saying with due respect to him, he was part of some protest himself as a person. The immediate past president, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, was also part of a protest. Is it possible for a government, or is it possible for a person, or is it possible for a leader to be beating somebody and say the person should not cry? Is it possible?
No.
It is not. So it is funny that you can go to this extent in this country. Unfortunately, we also have a government lawyer in the government council that should be ashamed of himself, because the court is supposed to be the last haven of the common man, but unfortunately, the court is being ridiculed. But presently, we have a lot of political judges, and that's why we see a judge asking minor to pay 10 million naira before he or she could be granted bail. Then we have someone that assaulted a boat driver that asked money, our money, not his own money, was asked to pay 500,000 naira to get bail. And you see, minor, he has to pay 10 million naira because of the fact that they were charged for treasonable felony. So what I'm saying in effect is that the government itself, our government in Nigeria now, does not even know what is up to. They don't know what they are doing at all. And that's why we have always encouraged the electorate that when it is time for election, it has nothing to do with political parties. It has nothing to do with them of persons. Let us find out, let us examine the people that are presenting themselves for elections. You must know what they represent, you must know what they entail, you must know their plan.
Okay.
So, but for people to say because somebody becomes to so party, because so person becomes to my tribe, because so belongs to our community, because so it should be fair to, it is not. Now, the unfortunate in this country to have bad leaders.
Oh.
By the time you are complaining that you have a bad leader, by the time another one succeeds, that one will be worse than the one you said you have removed. And why? Because of the fact that the electorate are not doing the right thing, are not doing what they're supposed to do. And that's why we're having this. If not, we wouldn't have had a police authority that will have even detained children for 90-something days. Whereas the constitution says nobody should be detained for more than 48 hours without arraigning them in court of law.
Yeah. Okay, not to deviate.
They were detained.
Okay, not to deviate.
They were not fed.
Well agreed. It's common knowledge how the children were actually treated. You made mention of something, a disparity between the 500,000 naira bill from the assault of the Green Chamber member on the Bolt driver, and also the bill package for the children or the minors for 10 million naira. Do you feel the legal system or the legal cycle is actually being partial, giving preferential treatment based on status?
My dear brother, under the law, we are equal. In fact, yourself, myself, have equal rights as the president. The difference may be he has immunity for just 4 years or 8 years, depends on the time. It's at the end of affairs. That's the only difference. So, but it's unfortunate that our own system in Nigeria, there are a lot of disparities between the common man and the so-called leaders. Yes, it may be argued, because we have to be truthful to ourselves. It may be argued that yes, the judge himself may not be blamed. Could not be blamed on the fact that because of the offense, they were charged. If, for instance, now the other person was charged for assault, these children were charged for what's it called? Felony.
Yes.
Yes, that might be an excuse for asking one to pay 500,000 and the other one to pay 10 million naira. But the truth of the matter, how would you have expected a minor to pay 10 million naira? Which also belongs to the fact that what is the reason for charging these people for treasonable felony? Were they carrying guns? Were they armed? How many people did they injure? Which of the government functionaries they attack? Which government houses they attack? Nothing like that. So it's just the management of the government. They feel that there's a way for them to suppress opposition. They feel it's a way to suppress the civil society. They believe it's a way to suppress protest against them. And it's not possible for you to be beating any child and asking not to cry. It is not possible. How many person or how many people, as far as that is concerned, that feels well now? How many at home now that could boast of themselves are doing what is expected of them as a father, as a man in the house? How many?
It's quite sad.
And we have a government that is generally insensitive to the plight of the people. What the African is hello for Kobale. I don't understand what that one means. Hello for Kobale. You have to bear it, you have to enjoy it, and you see these people being as a dance.
Okay, sir.
Living a civilian life.
Okay, I get it, sir. In totality, what I've come to get now is that there's a price tag for every crime committed. Now, that's what our Nigerian legal system has actually made us understand, which actually not ought to be. But moving on, in 2003, Nigeria adopted the Child Rights Act to domesticate the Convention on Rights of the Child.
Very good.
Now, the Children's
Very good.
Now, the Children's Rights Act. Are you with me, sir?
I'm with you.
Okay. Now, the Children's Rights Act of 2003 expands the human rights bestowed on citizens in Nigeria's 1999 Constitution, especially to the children.
Yes.
Now, although this law was passed
Yes.
at the federal level, it's only effective if the state assemblies also codify the law. Currently, as we speak, numerous Nigerians express displeasure, likewise yourself, which I can hear now earlier on our initial, with the bail conditions imposed on the End Bad Governance protesters, stating that the arraignment of such a large number of minors is highly unusual and undermines the fundamental principles of human rights and dignity. Now, what implications do the recent actions taken against these arraigned minors or apprehended minors have on the perception of the Nigerian child protection law within the country?
Well, thank you so much. First of all, let me correct an impression. Now, you see, the Child Rights Act law is binding on the entire Nigeria as a country.
Okay.
Now, you see, if you say a law is federal, at times I just like the essence of the lower chamber and the green chambers is that if there's something that has to do with the country as a whole, when it is passed or ratified at the House of Reps, it also be passed to the Senate. Every constituency in the country has a representative in the House of Assembly, in the House of Reps, and in the Senate as well. Which means any law passed that it is binding. It is usually in Nigeria we have a way of dodging what is supposed to be incumbents on us if they believe it's against them in one way or the other. That is the problem we have. Apart from that, if we are talking about a law passed by the National Assembly that is passed, is only binding on the federal government because it has not been ratified by the state. Is the state not an integral part of the country? So we should not shy away from the fact that this government or our so-called leaders, they have a way of judging what's supposed to be, what they are expected to do in order to protect themselves. Now, beyond the Child Rights Act itself, the Constitution of Nigeria itself makes it mandatory that there are certain rights that the children have, those that are called minors. And that's why I said it is a ridicule to us as a people, it's a ridicule to us as a country. Because if rights, there is a way we talk about so a country is a developing country, or a country aiming to become an advanced country or to become a developed country. The first thing The first thing to be measured, the first thing that are referred to, the first thing that are examined is their level of their protection of the rights of their people. So, in a situation that we have a country that will arraign minor for treasonable felony, which means those children should be executed. That's the meaning. Because the penalty for treasonable felony is death.
Yeah.
So it has exposed us that Nigeria as a country, forget about because of the years we have gotten independence, that we have not started at all. We have not prepared to start at all. If not, with this type of ridicule the government would have exposed us to this type of ridicule.
Okay, so to
if
get
we don't talk about the constitution, even apart from all the extant books, I'm happy that you made mention of this part. We have the Universal Declaration on Human Rights and the serious Convention of the United Nations as well, which are binding on Nigeria, which means even by the time we say we are setting aside our own law, we are setting aside the constitution, those treaties to which we are signatory is binding on us. So, which means there is no escape route for the government to protect. There's no escape route for the government at least as far as this issue of charging these minors for treatment. They don't have any excuse.
Okay.
They have acted against the law.
Okay.
And which means even the police officers, the person that signed their charge sheet, all of them ought to be arraigned in court.
Okay.
For having exposed us to ridicule.
We're coming to that. We're coming to that. We're coming to. Sorry to cut you short there. We're coming to the security agencies and their involvement. So, in totality, what I will want to get now is that even those in authority are actually insensitive to established laws. By that, I mean the Constitution. They're insensitive to establish to.
Very insensitive.
Okay.
Very insensitive.
Okay.
Let me just tell you one thing. The first right of anybody is to rebel.
Okay.
That's the first right of anybody. If you have a government that is bad, you can rebel. You can protest. Yes, peaceful protest. So by the time you now have protest, they say because you don't belong to that party or because you don't like the face of certain person. No, it is not. It's about bad. It's to talk about bad governance. I mean, the hope can drive our vehicles on the road now with the cost of fuel. If everybody to change to CNG, to change to gas, they said gas was 200, now it has become 400, it has started. It will continue to rise like that as well.
Okay.
We have a government that so as Africans spend our money anyhow. Yes, they want Nigeria to continue to endure. Yes, they are not enduring.
Okay, away from the insensitivity of our leaders who refuse to recognize or identify with established laws or treaties, zeroing in now on security agencies and personnel who are actually on ground to make sure that they curb the violence during the protest. Police IG Kayode Egbetokun said he had summoned senior officers within the police force, including the DCs, the CIDs, and heads of investigations units under the welfare of younger protesters identified to be minors. Now, before I proceed, definitely for adults who have actually gone against the law, they are actually ending up in correctional facilities. But when it comes to minors who have engaged in crimes committed, there should be juvenile facilities to address such acts. Now, while they were in detention, as we speak now, the protesters who were charged with treason looked malnourished when they appeared in court 3 months after they were apprehended during the August End Bad Governance protest. Now, the development resulted in a nationwide outrage over the arraignment of the minors at the Federal High Court, FCT Abuja. What measures can be implemented by law enforcement and even the government agencies itself to guarantee or ensure that the protection and welfare of minors in custody while balancing the need for accountability in their treatment during protests? Because if we liken it to Western countries, they will actually even be taking care of their prisoners or juvenile victims to know, okay, why did you actually engage in such acts? So what strategies can actually be employed by these security agencies and even the government institutions on ground to make sure that these minors who have actually or supposedly been charged to court are actually addressed?
Well, my brother, first of all, let me say this. You see, the essence of correctional center. In fact, the name itself explains it in totality. Correctional centers. The essence, the reason why the word prison was replaced with correctional centers, because even the essence of prison then is to correct people, is to serve as a correctional purposes. But unfortunately, because of the system we operate in Nigeria, because of the ways our leaders operate, they don't care about, and that's why when you see somebody that is more or less maybe a criminal, somebody arrested for a minor crime. By the time he gets into the prison, by the time he comes out, he now becomes a major criminal because of the fact that either the person has committed a minor crime or a major crime. All of them are all together in the same correctional facilities. So when we talk about taking care of people in the correction center, it is not limited to only the children. Because remember of juvenile centers, where are the juvenile centers in Nigeria? I don't think anyone exists any longer. Before we were having something like that, it is not existing as I speak, except I'm wrong, but I doubt it if there is for now. So but if someone is a minor or an adult, provided the person is in the facility of the correctional center, they ought to be taken care of. Because they are in the custody, in order to correct them, to change their system, to reform them, to become good citizens. That's the essence of correctional center. It's not because they have corrected them, they are being sent. Those that are sentenced to death is another thing entirely. They don't have to should go to jail for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, a year. It's to correct them. It's to make them a better citizen. I'm not sending them there to not learn more acts of criminality. They are being sent there in order to correct them. But unfortunately, we have a country that don't care about anybody. Even people that are not prisoners, people that are not in the correctional facilities or whatever, are clearing outside. How many people can feel very well? How many people can eat even 2 times? We talk of three times in a day. But by and large, it is the right of the government. The constitution itself is very clear about it. It says welfare of the people. Let me limit to the word of welfare. It's the welfare of the people. Should be the primary aim of the government, which means other proposals is in the correctional center or the person is not. It is the right of the government to make sure everybody is taken care of. Those children are not supposed at all be taken to correctional center. Let's assume that but I must say this: those children not committed any crime but participating in a peaceful protest, because based on the charges, which was about I've gone through, which you have seen, nothing like any one of them carrying arm, nothing like somebody one of them attacks certain person, nothing like that on the charges stand by the police personnel. So it is the right of the government to take. Let's assume these people have committed any offense in one way or the other. First of all, they are not supposed to be taken to the correctional centers where adults are being kept. They are not supposed to be taken to the facilities where adults are here. They are supposed to be taken to the juvenile center where they be taken care of. It is that they will even decide, okay, why and what led these people to participate in this type of protest? What has this one been doing? What has that one been doing? Has this one been going to school? Has this one been doing this? That is supposed to be what the government ought to do. By the time you discover that the majority of these children may not even be attending school at all. And our government does not care. Look at the number of out-of-children school that we have in Nigeria presently. The government does not care.
Okay, so
school fees has gone up. Many parents are able to pay school fees of their children. Either we take them to government school or take them to private school. They are the same. There is nowhere you don't pay money. In Lagos State, I know some the parents of students of modern school, they protested. They even went up to the House of Assembly. Now, why should they increase school fees from maybe 35 of I can't be specific anyway, to over 200,000 or thereabouts? What a system are we operating? It's like that moment of all of us. We were endowed. We started this only by God for the benefit of not for the benefit of certain people. Those that are leading us, it's not because they have special aid or because they have special knowledge more than some of us. It is a privilege. Even yourself could be the president of this country. I could be the president of this country. So if anybody found himself, it's just a privilege. It's not that he's the only person that is more knowledgeable, that is more intelligent than all of us as a people in Nigeria. But the president just has that opportunity, and the power he has does not belong to. Is a borrowed power. Sovereignty belongs to the people. The power belongs to the people. They are just borrowed in the power to exercise it as the leader. There's somebody now using that power in the wrong way. When you use that power against the people that elected him or that gave him such opportunity, there's nothing wrong in protesting against that peaceful protest. The law supports it, the constitution supports it, the United Nations Convention supports it, the Universal Council of Human Rights supports it. And that is exactly what we must do. Like I said earlier on, the president himself once took part in some protests, the military president took part in some protests. Then what are we talking about? We now have a government now. Okay. That's now arraigning children, minors.
Okay, sir.
On testimony side instead of taking property out of them.
Okay, sir. In sum total, before we wrap up, I'm going over to the last question. What I can get from you there now is that though operating a democratic session, our government is not even quite responsive enough to be technocratic, but instead are more autocratic. That's what you're trying to say in... Hello, can you hear me, sir?
No. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you now.
Okay. What I was trying to say, sorry about the breakup. What I'm trying to say in essence is that though operating a democratic session where there should be equality and fundamental human rights should be taken into cognizance, it therefore means that while operating a democratic setting, we are more autocratic than being technocratic based on a responsive note. That's what I can get from what you said in entirety.
Exactly.
Now, on a final note, before we wrap up the show, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as at Monday, directed the immediate release of minors who were actually apprehended over this alleged participation in the August End Bad Governance protests. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, actually announced this to the State House correspondents during an emergency briefing at the Aso Rock Villa. Now, as a follow-up to this, how might the recent directive by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu regarding the release of these minors apprehended during the protest impact on public perceptions because of the outrage upon apprehension? Now, what will be the perception of government accountability and the treatment of the youths and minors in political activism in Nigeria to influence future policies? Because definitely this cannot be the only administration that will witness a protest. I'm talking about future administrations. How will they address future policies and the legal frameworks also?
Well, thank you so much. You see, first of all, the fact that the president has given an order that the children should be released, yes, we commend him for that, but it is not enough. It is not enough. It's not only about ordering the release of these children. One, it's about asking those that were responsible for their arrest themselves to be brought to book. That's one. Secondly, the children that are to be released are supposed to be taken care of. Government is supposed to compensate them adequately. They're supposed to compensate them adequately, ensure those that are supposed to be in school get back to school, and see to the welfare of every one of them. And the police, those that arrested them, are brought to book so that to serve as deterrents to others in future. Having said that, there is no way a bad government will get people not to protest. It is just not possible. And I want to call your attention to certain things. If you remember,
yes,
at certain election, I don't want to be specific. We all saw it on screen. We saw it on the air. We had it. We saw it that minors were being allowed to vote during certain election. I don't want to be specific. As at that time, those minors were regarded as adults. They were allowed to exercise franchise rights of adults. But now, because the children are now protesting against bad governance, they were arrested, taken to correctional centers. What the government need to do. Every child must be educated at the essence of the government. The first one you talk about developing a country, the first thing that matters is education.
So we call it a close now for today. I want to give you a big thank you for joining us on the show for today. And we believe you should be joining us subsequently on matters concerning civic matters, political matters, as it affects the nation or globally at large.
No problem. I must also commend you for the job you people are doing over there, because without the journalists, perhaps this Nigeria will have collapsed. But I only implore you people that ensure that news are reported accurately. When there is need for government to be commended, we should not shy away from that. But when there needs to be light, they should be light accordingly. Like I did say earlier on, many of us we have written, commended the president for ordering them to release the children, but it is not enough. Himself is also liable for the arrest of the children, because at the time they were arrested, he knew about it. He should have it was. He ought to have given that order immediately. But nevertheless, it's better to be late. It's better to be late than never. He has done it. If not, the children will be exposed to death penalty. So we thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, my brother. Have a nice day.
And you too, sir. Well, that was the head of the Civil Society Coalition on Sustainable Development Lagos State Chapter, Mr. Toyin Rahim. Quite on a ranting note from his own end for unjustifiable actions meted out on minors. Now, moving on, the need for a justice system that respects the rights of all citizens, particularly vulnerable groups such as minors or children, must remain paramount. The show has been Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and, like always, embrace dialogue. I'm Odiawa AI. Thanks for watching.